Hello and welcome back to the Variety Pack podcast. My name is Chloe Baldwin. I am a professional actor, variety artist, and drag king. And I am your host as we have incredible conversations with live entertainers about how to harness the attention of today's audiences. Today's conversation is not only about how to get folks' attention, but it's also about why. How can art have an impact in today's culture, with everything that we have going on internally, externally, all of it. And I'm so excited to introduce you to these two guests. Our first guest is an artist I have known for over a decade, Kate Smith, who is based out of Chicago. I met her when I was 19 and we were both Segway tour guides. And since then, she has had an incredible artistic career, not only as a professional actor and opera singer, but also someone who creates her own work and made One Woman Hamlet, starring Kate and an entire cast of puppets playing characters like Gertrude and Hamlet, and with a focus on mental health. And now Kate is a photographer focusing on creating work for her clients that's in the fantasy realm that helps them bring out who they are as people through characters that they create or storylines that them and Kate come up with together. This artistic endeavor is called Mythos Lens. Our second guest today is David Roston, who you might know better as Esmeralda the Puppet, a quintessential icon of the Los Angeles puppet scene. He is also a guitarist and vocalist in the awesome band Shahari. And it's worth mentioning that both of my guests today have background in public health. So David got his master's in public health, and Kate is a trauma-informed yoga teacher and somatic healer. So buckle up for a conversation about healing yourself and your audiences through art. This is the Variety Pack podcast, brought to you by Mystify Magic Festival. Welcome to the Variety Pack podcast. I am so thrilled to be here today with two incredible artists and human beings. Please welcome to the show, Kate Smith and David Roston. Hi, y'all.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here today. Kate, you're coming in live from us from Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Gorgeous. And we got David in LA and I'm up here in Portland, all just doing our artistic pursuits across the country. But I'm so excited to chat with y'all. And one of the first things that I'm excited to dive in about, especially in the world we're existing in right now. So I'm just gonna go hard in the paint. Both of you have such backgrounds and depth in your art with healing, and when it comes to healing and healing people. And the first question I wanted to ask y'all is just, what do you think is the biggest tool in your toolbox for healing through art? I'm sorry, I'm not going in slowly. We're just like hardcore.
What is our strongest tool in the toolbox for healing?
Yeah, as an artist.
Yeah. I think three things come to mind. So I'm having a hard time thinking. David isn't. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna name the one I think people don't talk about a lot, which is I think we don't talk about play, and creating safe enough spaces for people to play, to heal. Because I think when our bodies are in play space, everybody gets there differently, but we allow our animal body to soften. And I think the things that are hurting from our little childhood selves or our current selves can be expressed in a way that I think we were all meant to be able to do. I think creativity is a healing gift that we were all given as people to heal ourselves and tell our own stories and make new ones if we were given shitty ones and rewrite them. So I think this joyful creativity and the fact that healing doesn't always have to be hard, it can be playful and fun, is something that we don't talk about a lot. Yeah, that's what's top of my mind. Does that resonate with you at all, David, or does that bring anything up for you? I'm curious.
Yeah. So much. Yeah. I think that a lot of the work that I do deals with joy and laughter, and there's inherent play in that. And in order to find connection either with yourself or with others, I think there's a general openness that needs to happen. And in being open, being willing to try new things, to try things on, try on new perspectives, or just try a new vehicle to access play or to learn new things, I think is really helpful and beneficial. It's been helpful for me, even in just trying on new things to get to where I am now, that over time has been sharpened and gotten better, but it was a little messy. And I think having the confidence to try something new can be one of those tools.
I love that. I always find that trying on different characters makes different parts of myself that I didn't either realize were there or were kind of latent come out more, or even just put that in front of people and have them enjoy it and go, oh, like, this isn't as scary as I thought it was. Maybe this actually connects with other folks. Like, one of the biggest examples for me is Christian rock, which is my drag persona, and how that really helped me realize I was gender fluid, because the masculine energy that I'd been like, oh, I just got to keep this down and in the dark, was actually something that connected with people, and feeling that kind of acceptance helped me bring it out in my real life too. I'm super curious for each of you. And I think the obvious question would be for you, David, with your character Esmeralda, the incredible puppet icon that we have all come to know. I'd love to ask you, is there anything that Esmeralda specifically has brought out in you as a person?
Yeah, I think Esmeralda is both part of me and everything that I want to be. She is able to say things that I maybe wouldn't say, but want to say. So, and her part of her personality is that she is older, maybe feeling past her prime, but still not ready to throw in the towel. And I've often felt that. It's more a reflection of me, that I feel like I was like, oh, I'm not famous yet, or I missed my chance and I'm still going for it. But she's unapologetic and a go-getter, and I strive to be as great as she is. So I think that she does teach me that in a way, even though it is me. It's this weird thing where people are like, oh no, you're Esmeralda. It's like, but to me, I don't see myself when she's on my hand. So, and there's something strange that happens when I put her on and become her, is that I kind of disappear in my own mind, but clearly I'm beating her lines.
Right. Yeah. I relate to that feeling so deeply. It's like I kind of, it's like the character takes over a little bit. It's a little bit like being possessed, but without going the full Hollywood boy method actor part of it. You know, it's like I'm still in the driver's seat, but like I'm letting Christian rock hold the wheel, or Morning Night hold the wheel, or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that. I want to keep going in this direction. Kate, I'm so curious for you in your work with Mythos as a photographer, and getting to see these different parts of people come out as you kind of bring them, especially for your fantasy photography, into a different character or world, either that you've kind of helped bring out in them, or that they've created, or some combo. Like, how do you see that reflected from an outside perspective as the artist, like capturing those moments?
Yeah, well, it's cool because it's the work I've been doing for myself for so long.
Yes.
And when I was originally a performer, I just resonate so much with how both of you are sharing shoes of, like, you're putting on the shoes of this one part of yourself. And I feel like if you know parts work too, or healing work in that way, I think that acting or storytelling is just a different version of that. But when I'm experiencing it through photography, so I loosely use, I was a somatic practitioner and teacher for many years in different prisons and with women who were going through difficult births. And I feel like there's connection in the body that happens when you're telling your story. And the system that I'm partly basing this on narrative healing therapy, and I'm trained in, but also through just my own trial and error of storytelling and how it heals me, is if you write down an aspect of your story that you're looking at, and then you embody it. So like, for instance, like in the session, and then you see it, So that picture of yourself as art, this one specific aspect of yourself. So maybe it's like this strength in yourself, or this aspect of yourself that you've buried because society told you it was too much or too small or whatever. And then you can share that image and see your story and encapsulate it in that image. Studies have found that you're more likely to live that embodiment or to let go of an unhealthy embodiment. And I just think that's really powerful. And it's fun. And it's not, it's by no means a fix-all, but I think there's real power in reflecting yourself back to yourself. And I really have a great passion in doing that for other folks. And it's also how I continue to heal myself. So I still have narrative healing sessions all the time for myself, to rewrite my own stories, my own neural pathways, and continue to become the person I want to be in a way that feels fun and joyful and exciting. And I'm like, woo, here to be alive. Yeah. And I do it with couples too, when they're eloping. It's like telling their story intentionally, what they want to bring into their life, or poly couples who might not want to get married, but they want to tell their story in a way that is authentic and, intentional. Yeah.
That's so sweet. I love that. When those kind of moments happen and you're like, you kind of lock in and watch them tell their story, what happens, or like, what do you see change in them?
That, like, the goosebumps exciting, when you're like jazzed to go on stage. It's so different for each person, but what I mostly see is like, when you're talking to somebody and they just open up, like they're just authentically themselves, the guard is down. I think it's, I don't know if I have words for it yet, to be honest, but it's this process of being seen, and you also feel safe enough to be vulnerable and to like express what's true for you in that moment. It's like, I think because it's boundaried, like I think so often as creatives, we're like, it has to be everything, everywhere, all at once. But this is a specific thing you're exploring in one moment and through the lens of one character or one aspect of yourself. And I just think it allows space for people to feel that aspect of themselves. And then they just open, and it's like you're seeing that piece of their soul. And it's such a gift, and it's such a pleasure. And something that I think culturally we put down a lot, because it's messy and it's young. I think we tend to be like, oh, that person's being silly, bad, young. But yeah, it's like their little self is alive. I don't know if I'm making sense. I'm caffeinated, and like I said, this is very ephemeral and different for each person. I hope this
You're making
tracks.
total sense. I love what you said about their little self is alive, and that tracks back so beautifully with what you were saying at the beginning about play and rewriting narratives. And it just excites me so much when I think about that. I'd love to ask both of you. Yeah, no, please.
Just one more thing. I love the way that you brought up how a certain framework can help people open up and feel seen. And I relate to that a lot, because just even through puppetry, there's something about a puppet that people can just put down all of their walls and open up, and being able, adults, kids, whoever, can just talk directly to this being which is here but also not human, and is something magical can happen if you open yourself up to that. And some people I've encountered really do dive right into it and will have full-on conversations with Esmeralda or other puppets that I have. And other people are very dismissive and just shutting it all down immediately. Like, no, I do not want to talk to that thing, and the dichotomy there is so strong, because there can be these epic breakthroughs, or there could be absolutely nothing at all. But I think the framework as the work that you do can help people achieve those breakthroughs. And I relate to that too in some of the work that I do.
Well, and just to validate that back to you, I feel the same way about puppetry. I'm curious, well, because I was a puppeteer for many years, still am, but I'm just so passionate about it because I see the same thing you do in it, of this, like, it's this gateway to a mystical realm that is also ageless. Like, even in terms of like puppetry that folks might be more familiar with, of like Labyrinth or the Muppets, or just this, like a puppet doesn't age, kind of in a different way, but I don't know if I don't want to speak for you, but I see that aspect of the timelessness of puppets be so powerful in the way that you're saying. Does that connect at all, or does that resonate at all, or am I putting things on you?
Yeah, and I think just people that are much older or toddlers, whoever, we've all had puppetry in our lives in some form, whether it's through the Muppets or through Sid Croft or what have you, or whatever's going on now. There's some familiarity to it that in some shape we've come across puppets in our lives, so it's not something that's completely brand new or unfamiliar. So I think there's the timelessness of a puppet, but then there's also the timelessness of puppetry, which has gone on for eons, so, and continues to go on in humanity. So yeah, it can reach everybody.
Y'all, I love everything that you're saying about this. I love also the concept that puppets are immortal. That's both beautiful and terrifying. It's kind of, you guys are getting me going on a brain train that has something to do with how, as artists, we can shift folks' perspective. There's a few things that come to mind. One, what you were saying, David, makes me think about puppets in the sense of how people who sometimes don't feel comfortable talking to other people feel comfortable around animals, in the sense that, maybe I don't feel comfortable having a conversation with this other human being. Maybe I feel a little bit anxious, but a puppet doesn't really exist in the same social norms that I do, and it doesn't have to follow the rules that I do. So maybe they'll get me in a way. And it also makes me think about the perspective shift aspect, makes me think about people who go on a shrooms trip or an acid trip and, have a totally kind of different perspective that they get to have through life, and how we kind of as artists can create a shroom experience for our audience without them having to, travel a far way and find somebody to be a trip sitter. And I'm curious about how y'all, because both of you each in your own ways, and I would say you, David, as a event producer, and Kate, you as a photographer who's really creating a full experience for everyone. How do you create that space for people? How do you be the trip sitter for them having this big perspective change?
Kate, do you want to start? I feel like I've been talking a lot.
No, I think that is I feel the same way. You're not alone, and I don't.
As the person that is interviewing you both, you're doing a great job. You're so balanced. You're right, exactly. You're being so balanced. You're both doing a great job, and I'm proud of you.
Yeah. Thank you. I love the correlation between, I think about this a lot, between plant medicine healing and narrative healing. As a wide blanket for creativity and storytelling healing us. I mean, both scientifically rewire the neurons of your brain. And I think the narrative is we can't change, we can't grow, and story and plant medicine both, fight that completely with intense proof. And so I love that parallel, and I think about that a lot too. Why did I say that? I think how to hold space. So the first thing I think is important, I would ask the same questions of a practitioner I wanted to work with or create the space I wanted to go into that I would ask a plant medicine guide. And my rules for that are, one, I can't be safe for everybody, and you have to be safe to let go and to go into this vulnerable space. So I think a general education around what creates safe space for a lot of people is really important for us as artists and for people who hold space in general. But me, just by being me, could be triggering to somebody because of a memory they have. So I just want to put that under the board right now, as a lot of people are like, I can heal everybody. I'm like, no, nobody can heal everybody. So that the other thing is just allowing them to co-create space with me. So it's maybe a music really makes them feel safe, maybe a location, or vice versa. Maybe it doesn't. So I listen to them. I have a lot of questions prepped, quite a few that I ask to find out what sort of space makes their body feel really good. Little things like humming or moving your body in space can release things that come up without having to talk about them. The act of not feeling like you need to fix everything, I think, creates safe space to let somebody be broken in a moment and not feel like you have to make that better, but just to be feel your feelings. And to not get attached. I think it's important for us as practitioners to know how to hold ourselves in self and not attach to their emotions, which is, I honestly think, what a lot of performance programs teach you to do. It's like that method, going back to method of like, feel the exact feeling that your character is feeling. And I've noticed a lot of practitioners taking that on as people who hold space. But I think the skill of being like, this is me. And if you're affecting something in me, I have the capacity to go and hold that later and feel that later. But I can be here for you as neutral is really important. So yeah, so those are just a few things. And then I use a lot of tools that I had through my somatic training if something comes up for somebody. And everybody's different in that regard. So the ability to be flexible and to listen to what people are saying to you. Like if they're done, they're done. If they're feeling something, they're feeling something. If they're sad, they're sad. If they're happy, they're happy. And all of that should be welcome, I think. Yeah. And it also requires people to meet like in the middle. I don't think a creative space holder can change you without your participation and your full. So it's a collaboration. So yeah, those are initial thoughts. I'm sure there's more, but
I love that. Can I ask you a follow-up question before we hear David's response to that too?
Yeah.
I'm so curious about, because what you're doing in your current practice is holding space for, one person or a small group of people, and you're able to kind of co-create that space with those folks. And I'm so curious, if you were looking back to something like One Woman Hamlet, or which is, just to give some context for the audience, Kate's incredible one-woman show that she wrote and produced, and stars her and a cast of puppets that perform Hamlet and also focus in on mental health. And if you're looking back at something like that, or other instances where you're a performer, or in the future, how do you take that kind of co-creation and alchemize that to an audience with more folks in it?
You mean like how is that experience transitioning into like what I do now, or like how do I take that experience and share it with people in the moment, like specifically with One Woman Hamlet, or both?
I think both. Like,
yeah.
How did that kind of creation with the audience become what you're doing now? And if you were to go do another performance at some point that had more of an audience, or even just like, a mass shoot where you're working with 400 people to create some sort of photographic masterpiece, how would you go into that, knowing that you're trying to co-create something with a larger group of people, but at the same time you're driving the car?
Yeah, ooh, I love how your brain works. That's such a good question. I think so I started creating One Woman Hamlet with a mental health organization because I lost a friend to suicide. I lost several friends to suicide, but this was a really dear friend. And the intention behind the creation, it's like I woke up one morning having dreams about it. I saw myself surrounded by a ring of puppets. They were, Hamlet characters, and I was like, oh, I'm going to make this. And I made it over 6 years. And throughout the creation of it, I realized I was also healing myself. I like in the process of creating the show, I got diagnosed with PMDD and like a depressive disorder. I found out I was like on the spectrum of autism. I healed myself throughout the process. And I was embodying the steps that I use now for photography at that time. And I think it's the reason I fell in love with theater, to be honest, too. I grew up in a really isolated environment where all the kids were homeschooled, and we didn't have a lot of exposure to stories. So when I found community theater, I was like, what is this? It's like putting on the shoes for the first time. Yeah, so I could explore these aspects of myself. So in trying to heal the world and spread awareness, because I lost my friend, I ended up healing myself. And I just think that's how we're meant to heal, at least in one way, is like through self-exploration and then sharing that with community, and then community levels that up. So when I shared it with this organization, the Hope for Us Network is the name of the organization. They provide a lot of free resources throughout the country, but especially in Chicago. And through all the education I did at that time, I would share it with them, and then they would be like, yeah, and what about this? Or like, and yeah, I see this. And then my favorite show of the whole thing, I did a show for one person at a library. We did a library tour, and there were shows with hundreds of people, and there was a show with just one man, and he was in his 80s. And it was like my favorite performance I've ever had as a person ever. To this day, my absolute favorite. And we just had this beautiful, vulnerable conversation. I get goosebumps. This vulnerable conversation about mental health after and aging and dying with unmet dreams. And I was like, if I hadn't been vulnerable, if I hadn't put this out here, if I hadn't allowed myself to be a part of the creation that I was developing to help the world not become another Jessie, my friend that I lost, I wouldn't have healed that aspect of myself. I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't be as happy as I am, or as free. And so I think the theme throughout all my work and exploration is just, I want people to feel happy and safe. And I want to continue to grow as myself while inspiring other people to grow and creating space where we can do that together, whether I'm holding space or a part of space. So, so it influences everything. I think no matter if I perform or I'm taking a photo, that'll be the root of it. This self, share, everybody see, everybody grow.
Yeah. It's not about the number of people in the audience. It's about what that connection is, and the co-creation can happen in whatever way. And it sounds like even kind of behind the scenes and like working with the organization you worked with too. That's part of the co-creation as well. That's so cool. That's so beautiful, Kate. Thank you for sharing that. That's gorgeous.
Thanks for asking. I love your question.
Yeah, that's such a good story. It's heartbreaking. I'm really sad for the loss in your life, and yet it's inspirational to hear about how you were able to find something new and grow and share with other people, after, is really lovely.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you.
I think one of my favorite themes in this conversation that we're finding is how the healing that we get to share with other people through our art also comes back and affects us so deeply. And it makes me think of the phrase that, you have to fill your own cup first, and in order to have overflow to help other people. And I think that's so true. And I think sometimes as artists, we can get kind of self-destructive, or we can, buy into the, like, I have to put it all into my art kind of mentality. But I love that even when we try to do that, our art ends up affecting us positively anyway, and like builds that up in us before then it starts spilling over into how it affects other people. And speaking, no, please.
Oh no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna you go.
No, because I really want to hear more from David, because I'm finding it really inspiring. But I just wanted to share I think it helps with comparative culture too. And it just felt really important of just this, like, oh, I'm not famous yet. Oh, I'm not enough yet. Oh, I'm not, like, compare, and you can't make anything. But if you're focused on your own growth and then sharing that growth, I think it heals that in a way too. It changes your dreams in a healthy way. Not that you can't dream to be famous. I just mean it can't be rooted in that. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Makes total sense.
I think it's part of our culture now with social media, especially, that we are bombarded with images and seeing friends or acquaintances or people that we don't know that are putting on the best versions of themselves on display that is exaggerated. And like I feed into it too. Like, I'm posting, stuff of Esmeralda. It's the best stuff that I have recorded of her, so I'm feeding the machine, and it can be a destructive system, I think, as artists and just as people, to constantly be comparing ourselves to others. But when we kind of can shut that down and focus inward and kind of turn down the volume, we can have more clarity and be more confident in our own selves and our artwork. Yeah,
totally. I find that on social media, the more that I focus outwards, the more I get away from what my own artistic intentions are, and B, the less it hits at all. And the more that I focus on, like, what do I think would be fun to make today? And then I want to show it to my friends, then the better I feel, and B, I find that it often, not always, but often aligns with, it doing well on the internet. And also then if it doesn't, I don't really care, which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, David, tell us about creating the space of the Electric Cheetah Cabaret Soiree, and what that's like for you, co-creating that with your audience, and yeah, I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, I think part of that show and what I try to bring to the world, I think, when it comes to sharing moments with people, is about accessibility and trying to create moments that are for everyone. It could be all the time. So the last year and a half or so, that show which you've been a guest on, Chloe, as Morning Night.
Yes.
We've done it up until now, generally as a donation-based system of a suggested donation from like $0 to $25, because we want to make it accessible for everybody who may not be able to afford a $20 ticket to come see a puppet variety cabaret show. And that's okay, because we want them to be in the room. We think that it should be for everybody. And oftentimes we'll have people that will pay $50 to help cover other folks. And in the end, it's not about the money. It's about the shared connections with people and the discoveries that come about in doing the show. And we've also been doing it at the Kibitz Room, which is a dive bar and a Jewish deli here in LA called Cantor's Deli, which I grew up going to growing up here in LA. So it's random people would stumble in because they want to get a drink on a Wednesday night, and they're part of the show. And the new connections that come about because it's accessible to everyone, and the new friendships that are made, and all of a sudden now I have like a sound and tech person who is at the show who's the best, and I can call up for advice, or he can help on a show. So I think that has been fun to experiment with, making it a donation-based system. And then also just bringing Esmeralda out in public, just to a coffee shop, or just on the street, or just wherever, having her around and just being able to slip her on and kind of test the waters is a way to bring puppetry and what we're talking about of connection and healing and opening our minds to everyone, if at any moment, if possible. So she's small. Like we have two versions of her, but not, the original one is smaller, and she can fit in a purse. And so I'll just carry her purse, and if it's the right moment, I'll bring her out. So yeah, and so I think that's what I love to do. And lately also been just bringing back there just a bin of puppets to the function, whether it's a family function or a friend's function or wherever, just so that people can play with puppets and see what happens. And it's there if anyone wants to go there, explore that world. It's there, and it doesn't cost anything. It's just there if you want it. So it's been nice just having the confidence in myself to just do Esmeralda wherever, if I feel like it, and if other people connect with it, but also just having puppets around, just like, if they want to sit on a little puppet and just see where it goes. And to access that world of play, I think is a gift.
I love that so much. And it is a gift. And if I may share a story of a time I came to the Electric Cheetah Cabaret soiree and brought, Kate, you're gonna love this, I brought my family and I brought my mom, and my mom specifically, I've never seen Amy Baldwin with a puppet in my life. Like, she's not, my entire 30 years of living, she has not had a puppet. There's not been a puppet that my mother has had. And when I tell you, this woman dove for the puppet that got put on our table in case anyone wanted to use it, and like was just here the whole night, like talking to everyone as this puppet. She had the best time. And I just like, I loved getting to see her light up in that way. And it just makes me think about the experiences that both of y'all are bringing to the world. Because the thing that I love doing is doing my show at Ren Fair, and Ren Fair is such a like cool space for that, for like, whimsy maxing, as the kids are saying now. And I just feel like you two have both found these ways to like break the boundary or the barrier of these spaces that like we've created to have some whimsy and have some play, and really brought it into the real world, whether that's like the real lives of people that maybe have never tried on these characters before, or whether that's like just meeting someone on the streets of LA and being like, you want to see a puppet? Like that, like the fact that you two are green lighting yourselves to bring any of that whimsy into any place at any time. It's very all the world's a stage. It's very, we can access that play anywhere. And it does not surprise me at all with both of you being such healers in general, and having that background and the fucking prolific artistry that you both have in spades. So anyway, those are the things I have to say about that. I think you two are both really incredible humans and artists, and thank you for sharing your time with me today. And this has been such an incredible conversation, and I really could talk to you both all day long. Like we could dive into the aspects of the minutia of all of it, but I'm really happy with what we chose to focus on, because I think that's huge right now, and healing our audiences and wherever they may be, I think is key. So I have one last question for each of you, which is, if you were a snack in a variety pack, which you are, what would the snack be? I'll start. I think today, oh God, for all the gender fluid and that I am really, really consistent with it. I think I'd be Cheez-Its. Like, I think I'm usually just a crunchy, cheesy, salty snack. And I'm just going to lean into it. I think I'd be Cheez-Its today.
Yeah. Ooh. I was homeschooled. Can a snack be anything?
A snack can be anything. A snack can be any sort of small. I would describe a snack as like a small food or maybe drink that you're enjoying or nibbling. It's not a meal. It's smaller.
I was also gonna say cheesy, crunchy for myself, but maybe like a puffier, like Cheetos puff, something that has a little bit more air in it. Kind of, there's still like a cloudy, cheesy puff kind of energy that's inviting, but also like weightless.
A little cereal. I love it. I feel it. The mouthfeel is good. The mouthfeel is good, dude. I love it.
Yeah. I think I'm puppy chow. Do y'all know what this is? With the sugar and I think I'm puppy chow. Okay, so it's like powdered sugar and chocolate on top of like Chex Mix, basically, is like what it is. But I pick that because I think everybody thinks I'm like very sweet and only very sweet, but then you get under and you're like, oh, she's savored too. So I'm puppy chow.
Obsessed. Oh my God. Yeah. You two are both so wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the Variety Pack podcast. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.